What are you wearing?
A Canadian tuxedo.
Canadian.
I'm a hockey player. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
To all you Blues fans, we're bleeding blue with you.
Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues.
BlueNote Fan Report. Hello. I am Guy, the White Blues fan, and joining me is
Justin Eagle Eye Scott.
and this is really our first weekly show of the year. This is the show that we're going to do every week on Sundays. I think for 2 weeks we're going to try it at 7. And then we may move it to 8, depending on how we get people. How's that sound to you, Justin?
Yeah, that sounds good. Get a little test run per se.
A little test drive. We've got an interesting show. So the last time we did a show was back it was in September, just before the Vancouver game at Enterprise, and we haven't done a show since then. So that's 6 games. And in that period, the Blues have gone 2-2-2. And we have good things to talk about. We have funny things to talk about. We have bad things to talk about. I kind of want to let and see how the guests, our fans, kind of go with where things are. But I think the best way to start this off is with the lightest moment of the week. I think you know what that moment is. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, not really. I'm assuming you're going to get into it. So, I mean, there's a few moments that I can think of, but I mean, there's probably one that you're more nitpicking out than the rest.
No, come on, man, chill. The Jordan Bennington with the 900 goal puck.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, lighthearted moment. I mean, some people took it the wrong way. For me, I saw it for what it was. Historical moment. You know what it reminded me of. And maybe you remember this. I don't know. Because this was, God, now that I think about it, it was over 20 years ago. So you might have been really young. In 2006, was it 6 or 4? No, 2004, when Boston swept St. Louis in the World Series to break the curse. I forget who the first baseman was for St. Louis, but he kept the ball. Right? When they got their out, somebody in St. Louis kept the ball. And it was like a huge deal, and everybody made a big deal out of it. Who owned the ball, da-da-da-da-da. It might have been Boston's guy that kept the ball. I don't remember, but there was a huge deal. I remember there being a huge deal about it, right? And that's kind of what that felt like to me. Would Bennington have kept the puck? Probably not, right? I don't think he would have. I think it was just one of the moments. And maybe it was one of the moments where, like, oh, I got it. I want to give it to him, right? I don't know.
Bennington. This is the problem with the fan bases and everything, how people view Jordan Bennington. Jordan Bennington is viewed as some criminal in the NHL who just does everything wrong. But the fact of the matter is that the guy made a joke. The guy picked up the puck. He hit it in his pants. It's just a classic joke. If a Marc-Andre Fleury did that, which he has done before, or not, maybe not to that extent, but he plays jokes on his teammates and on other opponents all the time. And then what does every fan base say? Oh, that's hilarious. You're funny. You're a funny goalie. You have charisma. You have character. But when Jordan Binnington does it, oh, we need to throw this guy in a suit jacket in the Orange Correctional Office. So it's just how people view things. It was a joke. That's what it meant.
And to be honest, it really did help. It put a lighthearted on a bad situation, right? The Blues ended up in that game just getting destroyed. And, you know, Bennington, who had a really good first period, couldn't stop anything in the second. In fact, I mean, he did. I think it was 0 for 4 or 0 for 3 when they finally pulled him, right? So he hadn't made a stop. Now, not to say that any of that was on him. The 900th goal, I mean, oh my God, what a goal, right? What a goal. You know, that's a goal scorer's goal, to be in that position, to know how to flick that puck and get it up in the air into that. I mean, he's basically on the goal line, you know, just off the goal line, and he's still able to flip that puck and get it in the air and not give Bennington time to get back. And it I think it hits Bennington as it goes in the net. But for me, you know, it made things a little better for a bad day. And it was, I think that, again, some people take things Bennington does and blows them out of proportion. And it all comes back to, even Hull said it had no business of going in. Yeah. That was a puck that, you know, it was just wow. And I kind of agree with that. So I took it as a lighthearted moment. I didn't take any negativity to it. I didn't, you know, and I kind of tuned out, you know, everyone saying, oh, it was this or it was that, or Bennington was trying to do this or nah, you know, and the same thing. Like Chris says, if Flower would have done it, no one would have said anything. And I kind of agree with that. You said
that's what I mean, that's exactly what I say. And that's exactly the case in point that I say. Flower was known for being a charismatic, funny goalie. That's why everyone liked him. And he's also a great goalie. But that's why people drew themselves to Flower, was his character and his personality.
Right. Exactly. And, you know, I've said this before. I want my goaltender to be a little out there. I want him to have some personality. I want him to have some character. I want him to be. I don't want him to be. You know, I want him to be fiery.
You don't want him to be. You don't want him to be. Okay, but this is a great analogy. I think when you go to the store, obviously I know you can't eat ice cream and everything like that, right? So, you go to the store, right, and you have these plethora of ice creams that you can choose from. And you have, you know, your chocolates, your Neapolitan, your mint chocolate chip, and then you have vanilla. Out of all them choices, are you really going to choose vanilla? That's not what you want. You don't want vanilla. So what you're saying is you don't want vanilla. You don't want a goalie who is just there, that doesn't show any emotion. You'd like a goalie that goes out there and wears his heart on his sleeve a little bit. And I do agree. I think that's why a lot of St. Louis people love Jordan Binnington, and a lot of people don't like him. But
I'm with you on that. I like that he wears his heart on his sleeve. I like that he's colorful. I like that he is fiery. And you know, the things that have happened in the past, some of them have been on him. Benner would be funny if he didn't have an 877 or 857. And I get that. This is Matt Lowe. Benner would be funny if he didn't have an 857. And you know, it's
yeah. But Flower was, I mean, Flower's still Flower, but you know, towards the end of his career, obviously he's getting older, and like he was playing, and he still was the same personality, the same characteristic, but he still wasn't at the Flower of old. So I mean, just because he has an 800 save percentage, or you know, 8 something, like base 900 or something like that, doesn't mean that it's not a funny moment. I think it was a hilarious moment. I think most people felt that way.
Yeah, I do. And let's kind of touch on the goaltending a little bit, right? I know you're very passionate about the goaltending, and rightly so. I see it slightly differently. Has St. Louis goaltending been good? No, it has not. Is it the problem? That is where I think you and me differ a little bit.
Well,
you want to talk about it? Go ahead.
Well, no. Well, I want to say this because the thing is we don't vary right now per se, because in the recent games for St. Louis, let's see, back to when would I say? Not the Columbus game. It was past the Columbus. A few games before that, the goaltending started to show what the goaltending is capable of. So the way I look at it is you can't look at the goaltenders from the beginning of the season to like the most recent games and say that they were the same people. The two goaltenders that I've seen are a vast difference of each other. Like the most recent games, you can see that they're two goalies that are confident, that are moving the puck. Hofer is coming out of the net and being patient with the puck and actually playing the puck and making the right plays instead of throwing it to the other team. You can just see the confidence way different from them from the beginning of the season to the most recent stretch of games. So the goaltending has gotten way better.
I agree with you on that. I do agree that the confidence is up. Hofer yesterday looked very, very confident. And of the 3 goals, and I won't count the overtime goal, but of the 3 regulation goals, I don't know that I can put any one of them on Hofer per se. Right?
No, Hofer and Bennington have been great. Hofer has been solid since he played the great game in Calgary in the beginning of the season. He went on that long slump. And then I think the first game that he played, the Columbus game, that was the best game he played since that Calgary game. And then he's been pretty steady and solid ever since.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think
in my opinion,
he even did well when he came in for relief for Bennington in the Washington game. I think he did. He gave up 1 goal, but maybe 1 or 2. I think he may have given up 2 goals. But overall,
yeah.
Right.
But the play was real bad in Washington, so I can't really blame Hofer or Bennington for any of that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, well, in the first period, that was all Bennington. The fact that it was 1-0 after 1, that was all Bennington. It could have been a lot worse. That was absolutely all Bennington. I've been kind of holding. I didn't want to talk about this right away. I wanted to wait a little bit, and it's already came up in the thing. Ad Dieterman brought it up. The NHL needs a truly defined goaltender interference. This is getting ridiculous now. Do you want to talk about this first?
I'm not. I will say it, I'm going to try not to get as fiery as I was yesterday about this, but I'm going to say this. The crowd of people, which I know that you are particularly in this group about how this goal, you're okay with this explanation. Me, I am not. What they did in that game last night was just the pure example of why officiating and why the league needs to fix themselves. They go into this game, and but I'm seeing a lot of reaction about, St. Louis blew 2-0 lead. Yes, they did. But no one said the St. Louis Blues played good in the second period. No one said that. They said, and this is not even coming from me or Blues fans or just Blues fans in general. This is coming from other fan bases that have seen this play develop and have said that this was goalie interference. This was a blown call. The St. Louis Blues were up in this game, and this call resulted in a tie game. And I get the whole crowd of, you had chances to put this away kind of thing. That's all fine and dandy. But if the NHL does their job properly and follows their own rules, this isn't rules that I made. This isn't rules that the St. Louis Blues made. This is a league rule that has been established that if a player goes into the crease and initiates contact, whether accidentally or on purpose, it should be deemed no goal. He goes into the blue paint willingly by himself. He's not pushed. He's not shoved. He is into the blue paint and he hits the stick, obviously on accident. I don't think he did it on purpose. I don't think really anybody tries to do it on purpose, but he does hit the stick. The goal goes in on the short side, on the blocker side. That was goalie interference. I don't care what anyone says. That's the way I feel about it. The NHL blew this call, and they have no responsibility and no accountability for anything that they do and any mistake that they make.
Okay. I do not. I think you've mischaracterized how I feel about this goal. And partially might have been how I presented myself or presented it that has led to that. First of all, do I think that this was goaltender interference? I do think it was goaltender interference. However, I can understand. I step back and I understand. I'm not going to blame the refs for the loss on goaltender interference on this one play. That I've come in my life, I've come to never look at one play as the reason a team won or lost, because it's never is that one play. And that's how I look at it. Now, what I want to show is, I want to take this down and I want to show this. This is what Andy Strickland posted on yesterday on X, right? And this is what he got. The explanation I received tonight regarding the last second goal review. Both officials on ice felt that the contact on the stick by Eberle did not affect Hofer from making the save. They commented that the puck went off the crossbar and in. We showed them replays and discussed the contact, and they still felt the contact did not constitute goalie interference. Situation Room agreed with their call. Now, I do not agree with that statement at all. I honestly do not. It was goaltender interference. No ands, ifs, or buts about that. He hit the stick. He impeded it. Now, what led to this thought process? That's what I looked at. And one of the things that I thought about was the Chicago one that you brought up, where the skater barely touches the stick, right? The goal goes in, and it really didn't look like there was any effect whatsoever, and they called goaltender interference. And the whole hockey world blew up. No way that's goaltender interference. No way that's goaltender interference. Now, bring it to this play, and I think that had an effect on it, right? Because he was in the blue paint, so this changes it a little bit. But I think that effect plays on it, and I can bring proof of that. Do you remember about 4 or 5 years ago when the puck went off of Tim Peel's midsection and ends up going in the net and gets called a no goal? You remember that?
Yep.
Say again?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, that rule is that if the puck goes directly off the ref and into the net, that it's called no goal. Earlier in the season, like a week before that happened, puck hits the ref. It touches, the goaltender touches it, and it goes in the goal. Well, they said because the goaltender touched it, that it doesn't count. That the goal counted. And the whole hockey world blew up. And then that affects, so when this puck hits Peel, it's going straight across. If Longo never touches that puck, it never goes in. Longo reaches down to play it. It hits him, hits the post, hits him again, and then goes in the net. Well, Longo played the puck, so in my eyes, it was no longer directly off the referee. However, that play earlier, oh, no, we got it wrong there, so we got to get it right here. And that is why I think that the call went the way it went. Do I agree with the call? No, I do not. But I'm saying there are circumstances that may have warranted or affected the call. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, but I also want to bring to light the game that me and you went to. The St. Louis Blues catch a break on a goalie interference call. That was called, and it was called a no goal. So my thing is, this happened a week before this one happens.
Yeah.
So you look at that game, and if that is called, that was considered goaltender interference. So if that was considered goaltender interference, how in the world was this not considered goaltender interference? This was so more far blatantly goaltender interference than the Vancouver game was. And the Vancouver game was rewarded in the Blues' favor. So for anyone who's taking the stance of, oh, well, you're a Blues homer, so you of course you don't think it's a goal. No, I don't think it's a goal because it's the rules. It's in the rules. The NHL just doesn't know how to properly adhere to them. They make a rule and they can't stick to it. And this should not, the goaltender interference should never be a call of, oh, this is because I feel. It's not about feeling, it's about the rule that you have in place. So the room or whatever, the situation room, can feel however they want to feel. It doesn't matter because the rule states if a guy goes into the crease willingly and initiates contact, that it should be disallowed on the goal board or on the score sheet. That's the rule. Not how you feel, whether he makes the save or not. It doesn't matter where the puck goes. It doesn't matter if it goes top shelf. It doesn't matter if it goes along the ice. It doesn't matter. It's not a judgment call. It is a rule call.
And I do agree with you. I do understand your passion and how you feel about this. I really do. And I also look at now, did the NHL get the call wrong? In my eyes, you are correct. They did get the call wrong. Is that the reason the Blues lost the game? Did that call cost the Blues 2 points? And this is where I think you and me heavily disagree. Because no, I don't think it cost the Blues 2 points. I think that there were many other incidences where the Blues could have earned those 2 points and didn't. This team, in my eyes, does not have a killer instinct, and they are just waiting for bad things to happen, and once they do, they collapse. Right? Wendy, not a good time to come in with Blackhawk stuff, bud.
Yeah, get out of here with the Blackhawks. I don't care about the Blackhawks. Not a good
time, bud.
Do not care about the Blackhawks.
Yeah. No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
That is where we differ. And I'm gonna stand by what I said. This game to me, you can spin it however you want to spin it. You can say, yeah, the Blues could have done this. The Blues shouldn't have gave up. But yes, we all know that. We all know the St. Louis Blues gave up a lead. They should not have given up to the Seattle Kraken. They came back and they eventually got the lead back. They held the Kraken to 3-2 until the very end. And yes, I will say that the blown call ruined the game because the Blues would have won this game 3-2 if they would have called the play properly because there was only a second left on the clock. If there was a second left on the clock and then they score and then the NHL situation room comes back after they review a play and they say, yep, that's no goal because there's goalie interference, the St. Louis Blues win that game because there's a second left on the clock. Not enough time, I don't think, for Seattle to get a goal. I mean, anything's possible, but it wouldn't happen. The Blues would have won this game 3-2 if not for the goalie interference call, which is better than losing the game that you should have won, that you were in control of for the most of the third period. So, we can talk about the empty nets. We can talk about how the Blues should have put 7 on the Kraken. I mean, but you're playing for what ifs. If the St. Louis Blues, this is my perception of how the Blues are this season, is if the Blues were on an 8-game win streak and this happened to the Blues and they lost this game, then everybody would be, okay, yeah, Justin, you're completely right. The NHL screwed it up. But because of the Blues are struggling so bad and everybody has this perception that the St. Louis Blues are such a terrible team, that makes it okay that this happened, that it's okay that they lost because they didn't deserve it, because they're not playing as well as we expect them to. That doesn't change my outlook on how I feel about this. The St. Louis Blues are struggling. Everybody knows it. But when a team is rightfully wronged, I'm going to say something, just like I did about Chicago. Chicago got wrongfully screwed in their game. It's with any team. I would do the same for any team.
And I do understand that. I do get your point. I really do. I get your point. I see how you're seeing this, and that's fine. But I also see how I'm seeing it, and in my eyes, it's also fine how I'm seeing it. And you brought this up in your TikTok, about the human factor. There is a human factor, and that's always going to come into play. No, they're never going to get it always right. It's never always going to be right. When it comes to goaltender interference, now the problem here is that this isn't the first time that this has happened. It has since the goaltender interference rule has been put in place, this has been a 50-50, where they could review it. This has been a 50-50 thing. Things that you thought were absolutely goaltender interference have been overturned. Things that you thought were in no way goaltender interference were called goaltender interference. It's not been defined well enough to so that it is. And this is why there's a lot of times where you've seen a play and you go, I think they should challenge it, and they're just like, nope, it's not worth it. Like, so for me, I feel like with the goaltender, let's say you challenge goaltender interference and you lose, right? You end up losing a man. You go on the penalty kill. Well, if you challenge for goaltender interference and you win, not only does the only thing that happens is the goal comes off. I think that when the goal comes, if you challenge for goaltender interference and they say it's goaltender interference, that player gets a 2-minute penalty. It's a double whammy if you lose. It should be a double whammy if you win. Do you see where I'm coming with on that?
Yeah, I mean,
now,
but
that wouldn't have affected this case because this was a league-initiated review. But it just goes to show Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
It just goes to show you that the league office, the issue is more with the league office than I think it is with the officiating. And it's something that the league office needs to look at and fix. And they've needed to look at it and fix it for a long time, and they haven't. They played with other rules, but they haven't really worked with the goaltender interference rule.
Well, and that's the problem. You look at the league room. There is, okay, we get it. You joke with me about all my time about my vision and how my vision being so poor. I can sit in the situation room and I can blatantly tell you that 100%, 2,000% that was goalie interference. And I have 2,200 vision. So if I can tell you that that's goalie interference from looking at it on a replay, why can't a bunch of goons sitting in suits and ties in a room that look at this for a living not get their job right? My issue is this wasn't, like you said, this was a league officiated review. This wasn't a St. Louis challenge. And I want to bring this to your attention. Jim Montgomery in the TikTok I posted said he would have challenged this because they were so certain that this was goalie interference. No coach is going to go out there and say that blatantly if they were not sure. They were 100% positive that this was goalie interference, and it was goalie interference. My thing is the inconsistencies, right? And I'm going to say this because the Blues got a break against the Vancouver Canucks. I didn't look at that one too in-depthly, but it wasn't the exact same. But Vancouver could have easily went 50-50 on this one. I know what you're saying about 50-50 and judgment calls and all that. This play against the Seattle Kraken was not a 50-50 call. This defined everything and met every criteria of a goalie interference, and it should have been called. And I'm going to say it because I don't know if this is the case, and I don't think it's true, but with sports nowadays, these are the types of plays that make the NHL and other leagues that happen, like the same thing kind of happen. They're not the same, but, controversial calls. This is what makes people think that sports are rigged when you see stuff like this, because you have people who are in the situation room who do this for a living, and then they blatantly get a call so badly wrong that it just makes the league look so bad. I mean, this made the NHL look terrible.
This isn't just a situation room. This was the two officials on ice and the situation. The thing that I read from Andy, right? Let me put that back up, right? I received an explanation I received tonight regarding the last second goal review. Both officials on ice felt that the contact on the stick by Eberle did not affect Hofer from making the save. They commented that the puck went off the crossbar and in. We showed them the replay and discussed the contact, and they still felt the contact did not constitute goalie interference. Situation room agreed with their call. So this was more on the two officials on ice saying that contact did not prevent him from playing the puck. I disagree with them, and the fact that it went blocker side should have mattered. And it didn't. They felt that there's no way. Basically, they've come out and said, or at least I'm putting words in their mouth, there's no way he could have made the save. So goaltender interference didn't matter. That's the way it sounds to me.
Well, and that's why I said to you that the goalie interference call is not a judgment call. It is not I believe he wasn't going to make this. You don't know that. You don't know that. You're playing for what ifs. You can't play for what ifs. When you have a rule, you have to enforce it the right way. And what they did last night was not enforce the rule properly, how it's written in the rule book. So, I think that this is a bet like this. Like I said, this isn't the only example of this type of stuff happening. I can name numerous other teams and other situations where this has happened. But that shows me that this league continues to spiral into a embarrassment factor to where they continue to embarrass themselves, and they just continue to do it, and they don't do nothing to help themselves or stop themselves from embarrassing themselves. And I just don't understand why. If you can fix something like this, why are you continuing to do this type of thing and just further hurt yourself and hurt your product? I am a paying customer of the NHL. I love the NHL. I'll always love it. But I want to see a product that I'm proud of. I want to see a product that I'm 100% invested in putting my hard-earned money into. And what you're giving us on the ice, as for the officials and the league room and the players' safety, you're not giving that to us. You're giving us a piss-poor product that no one can be proud of. And that's the way I view it.
And you are absolutely entitled to feel that way. Absolutely, 100% entitled to feel that way. And my, again, everyone, you keep making it out like I think that the call was wrong. Well, I don't think the call was wrong.
Well, no, I know where you stand. I know where you stand. You think the call is wrong. You think the call was wrong. You think it was goalie interference. That's a blatant. That's a give me. But that should tell you right now that kind of puts a hole in your thought process, because you think it was goalie interference, so you think it should have been called back, which would have gave the Blues a 3-2 win. But your idea is, the Blues should have put the puck in the empty net. Yes,
they should have never been in that position to begin with. Good teams do not allow themselves to be put in the position that the Blues allowed themselves to be put in. Good teams don't give up late second goals. Good teams put other teams away. Good teams don't let the foot off the gas, like Holloway and Kyrou both said that the team did in their remarks.
the Edmonton. Well, first of all, the NHL players are media trained, and they're not going to say anything that shows emotion because they can't, because it gets you fined. The Edmonton Oilers, right? The Edmonton Oilers are a good team, right? They made the Western Conference Final, and they made the Stanley Cup Final 2 years in a row. Guess what? They got beat by Colorado 9-1 on home ice.
Okay.
They're a good team.
They did.
They're a good team, right? So good teams don't let that happen, right?
No.
Good teams don't let that happen.
Good teams.
Right?
You like putting words in my mouth. You're really, really good.
You just said that good teams don't allow situations like that to happen.
What I said is good teams don't allow themselves to be put in that situation where that goal matters. A good team would have put this game away. A good team wouldn't have lost the 2-0 lead in the second period. A good team wouldn't have set back. Now, look, Colorado had a bad game. That happens. Now, you're not going to win all 82 games. You're not. You're going, even the best team, I think Boston one year, the year that they set the record, still lost 10 games, right? So you're not going to win all 82. And then, I don't know how many those were regulation losses. I don't know how many they lost in a shootout or overtime. Right. So you're going to have that. What I'm trying to get at is, while I agree that the rule should have been the goal should have been disallowed, I also think that there would never be 1-goal games if that's the case. And Shockey, go back and look at some of the better teams in the league and see how many 1-goal games they actually have. Right? Or how many? For me, I just don't really understand the thought process behind that. I get it. The Blues gave up a 2-0 lead. No one said the St. Louis Blues played good in the second period. No one said the St. Louis Blues, deserved 100% to win this game. But the fact of the matter is they blew a 2-0 lead. It happens. Teams do it all the time. They got the lead back. They buckled down, got the lead back, and held it for most of the third period, and then that happens. But my thought process is why I am frustrated with the thought process you take is because you see a struggling Blues team, and you should be happy and you should be wanting a win, and it doesn't matter how you get it. Teams don't win great games all the time. The Colorado Avalanche got outshot like 40-19 by the Utah Mammoth and won the game. So, I mean, you can't win pretty games all the time. You're not going to win games that are so overly offensive all the time. You're going to win games that are ugly. Did I think that this was a completely ugly game? The second period was ugly, but was the first and third ugly? No. I thought the Blues could have won this game, and they should have won this game, and didn't because the officials and the league blew the call at the end, which would have gave the Blues a 3-2 win. That's my thought process. But I'm saying, with my fault and your logic is, yeah, they could have put the game away, but what's the point? Why do you care if the score was 4-2 or 3-2? Why do you care? The Blues win. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, why would you care what the score is? It's 4-2 or 3-2. Who cares? Because I can't blame the loss on the refs. Because good teams don't blame losses on refs.
Well, they did. They didn't. I blame the refs. The team didn't.
2019. Did that team blame the hand pass loss on the ref? Did they blame that loss on the ref?
No, but we're not, they didn't blame the hand pass on the refs. They let it go. But that doesn't matter. We're not in 2019 anymore. That's what is it? 7 years ago? We're not in 2019 anymore. It's over. It's done. I'm talking about something that happened right now. The Blues were wrongfully screwed in this game, and I don't care if the Blues win 5-1 or if the Blues win 3-2. I don't care. The fact of the matter is the Blues should have won this game and didn't because of a blown call.
Yes, E, I'm getting your messages, but the conversation that so guys, I'm going to put this out. I don't have to post every comment that you put on. I don't do it all the time. Just because you post doesn't mean I'm going to show it all the time. If it doesn't go with what's the talk is, I'm not going to show it. Or if I don't, so back off on whether or not I'm seeing your comments. Okay, it's frustrating.
We'll get to them. We're having a discussion, so it's kind of, we're kind of in the mix to talking.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll get to them, but
well, he said this. He says it doesn't matter as a goalie. The littlest touch messes with your concentration. I maybe, I don't know. I didn't play goalie. I don't know. Chris said, just like a penalty on a breakaway on an open net, it's an automatic goal, but you don't know if it would have gone in. Yes and no on that one, right? I mean, and guys have flubbed the puck. I get that. They have flubbed it. But the purpose of that rule is because if they didn't have that to where it was an automatic goal every time there was a breakaway, they would do that because you go from an automatic goal to a 40% chance of scoring a goal if there's a breakaway. So that's the purpose of that rule. So it's a little bit different here, right?
Yeah.
You know what he's talking about there?
Yeah. I do know. I do kind of know where you're coming from. But like I said, I want to say this now because I do understand your POV on everything and what you mean by that. And although I would love to say, yeah, the Blues should have definitely put this game away. Like I said, my thought process is not so much that the Blues are struggling that they need every win that they can. I'm just talking about a team that was wrongfully screwed in this case. And like I said, I just feel that even though they didn't put the game away, in a sense that they did because it was 3-2, they just didn't put the game away as in a sense of it was a 2-goal lead. So with the timing of everything, and I think it kind of goes back to what Joe Hofer and mostly Jim Montgomery said, that if this was 5 minutes left in the game or something like that, he would have challenged this. So
I know. I agree with that. Okay. I do agree that, the way they looked at it, the way that the rule is written, 100% goalie interference. He hit the stick prior to the goal going in. It did not give him a chance to reset. It shouldn't. And especially the fact that it went on that side, on the blocker side. So he's, and I didn't see the overhead view, but according to the overhead view, Bernie said it, you can see his blocker turned. Right?
Yeah.
So
and the thing is, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No. So again, am I upset that they lost the game because of this call caused it to go to overtime. Right? So cost them the 2-point in regulation. I'm upset that happened. But I'm also upset that the Blues allowed themselves to get put in that position when they had multiple opportunities to let that never happen. That's where you and me differ a little bit. I'm going to sit there and go, it's on the refs, but it's also on the team. The team had opportunities, had 4 opportunities over 2 minutes of empty net. You have an empty net for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. You got to score. Plain and simple. You have to score. Right?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you're playing for, you're drawing for straws. Like I said, the Blues didn't score, but that's what I'm saying though. Like it took it. Okay. So we have a thing where the Blues are 2 minutes without the goalie in the net for the Seattle Kraken. They don't score. But the thing is the Seattle Kraken for 2 minutes are 1 minute and 59 seconds didn't score. So the Blues didn't score in an empty net with 2 minutes, but the Seattle Kraken, it took them to a second left in the period to score. So really, I mean, it kind of cancels each other out. And then, like I said, you put in that goalie interference. That should have been clearly goalie interference. That puts the clock at like a second and maybe like 1 point something on the clock. Anything can happen, but the Blues get that win. I'm pretty certain the Blues get that win. If they call that back and then they have a face-off, I think the Blues end up winning that game, and then they win it 3-2. And instead of just getting 1 point, they get 2 points, and Seattle gets nothing. So that's what I'm saying. The Seattle Kraken were first gifted a point, and then we can talk about the Blues in overtime, which me and you, we always talk about this all the time. Overtime needs a rule change, anyways.
Oh yeah, we can talk about that too, because I do agree with you on that one.
Yeah, and they need to. Well, and you were the one who brought it up first. About there should be a rule change that if the puck is deliberately pushed back over the red line, where they deliberately go out of the zone and then go back and reset, that should be a face-off in the defensive zone. I agree with that 100%. They need to figure out a way to neutralize 3-on-3 overtime.
I don't think defensive zone. I think it should be at the center ice.
That's what I mean. The red line. That's what I said.
Yeah, at the center ice. Yeah. I thought you said defensive zone, so I apologize if I missed. If a team deliberately takes the puck out and resets it, it should be back in their zone for a faceoff. They need to neutralize it because 3-on-3 overtime has become a watered down shell of its former self, and at first it was exciting, and I don't really remember teams that were really doing that when it first started. Like I saw team like it was back and forth, exciting play, and it would just kind of go 50-50, and it was kind of like, oh, okay, I lost in overtime, but it was cool as shit to see 3-on-3 overtime. Now it's like, oh my god, 3-on-3 overtime. Like, who cares about 3-on-3 overtime? Like that's the feeling I get when I watch 3-on-3 overtime. I'm like, oh, it's going to 3-on-3 overtime. This is gonna be lame. Like that's my feeling when I see it. Yeah. So Shai says this, and I think this is kind of backing up my comment a little bit. I'm not sure. He says the team has lost a regulation win with 1.6 and 1.5 seconds. This team cannot finish. And that's kind of like what I was saying, the point I was making. To lighten things up, let's say a big thank you to Stephen Glass, Jason Nichols, Ashley Jones, Tad Dieterman, and Guido on Facebook. They put some thumbs up in the air, gave us some love. We appreciate you greatly for doing that. I'm with you on overtime. I think that it has gone from very back and forth, which what it was supposed to be, to where teams have now learned how to play keep away with the puck and allows them to change and the other team not to change and forces a tired team out there. And that's what happened yesterday. I don't think the Blues got a full change.
No, they didn't.
In the whole, I think the three guys that were out there, at least two of them were out there the entire overtime, right? Before Wright scored the goal. I'd have to double check to be certain.
And let me pass this by you because this is actually an interesting fact too that I don't think that we actually talked about. What I'd like to see the NHL do is I know that they rotate guys. I know they rotate sides. The overtime needs to be not a long change. It doesn't need to be a long change. They need to keep the same for the third period. I truly believe that. And I get that that's like, oh well, you're gonna kind of make it easier for teams, but I think it makes it fair. You have a 3-on-3 overtime. You, like I said, if you could implement a rule where if the team deliberately goes back in their zone, it's a defensive zone face-off. But you also have teams that are playing on their correct side. So like the line changes are not long line changes,
Yeah.
So it makes it a little bit more fair for each team.
Yeah, I see that. I do see that because if since it makes it the short change, the team that has the puck does have, as soon as the first team to win the puck has a huge advantage.
Exactly.
Right. So it puts way too much emphasis on an opening faceoff. I agree with you there.
Well, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but what I mean, because in like you said, the opening faceoff is crucial, and but you look at what happened with this game, and you said that two of the St. Louis Blues that started on in overtime were on the ice when they scored, and that goes back to the problem with the 3-on-3 overtime is you have a long change, so the long change allows players, the other team, to do what the Kraken did last night and win the faceoff. And then when they couldn't get anything to the net or drive the net. All they did was take the puck out of the zone and then reset completely, go past that red line, reset. And they did that until the St. Louis Blues were tired. And then it was easy for them to come in and score. So that's why I think that it also could eliminate the factor of like players getting tired. Because I think you're right. I think the goal of 3-on-3 overtime was a fun back and forth, high exhilarating, exciting, 3-on-3 overtime. That was the whole point of 3-on-3 overtime.
Yeah.
So when you have a long change, I think that you ruin that because all you're seeing teams do is you see the teams that you see what Seattle Kraken did last night and just tire the Blues out. That's all you did. That's all you saw.
I think that just do we believe the Blues have a chance against Calgary? We'll talk about that very, very soon. As we get towards the end of the show, hour to hour and a half show, try and keep it light and fun. But I think those two things might be counterintuitive. I think you should do one or the other, right? Either you make it a short change to where if they go back, it doesn't help them, or you make it to where if they go back, it's a face-off and they lose the momentum. I don't think both. Stephen Glass said Kyrou tried to change but could not. So actually all three of them were out there the whole 2 minutes.
Yeah, right. I think, well, and like I said, and that's why I think the long change is bad. But I do get what you're saying about maybe being counterintuitive. The thing, though, with me is we were talking about this goalie interference thing and how it's hit or miss there for them, that they can't even get that right. And that's pretty obvious when it comes down to it. I feel like if you did something that we talked about where if you had a play that was like if you saw a team go and circle back and they pass that center ice line, I feel like you're going to get to the point where it's going to get where it's a judgment call and these officials are going to start blowing this call too. And I feel like it's just another rule that the NHL doesn't need.
I don't think it's a judgment call per se. So what's the difference between purposely and not purposely? And it's simply this. Was a pass missed? That's not purposely done. If a pass is missed, right, they go to pass it and for whatever, there's no guy near and it was a pass, I get it. But when he comes, skates the puck completely out of the zone, goes all the way down there and comes around, at that point, then that's purposely. I think purposely here is a solid word. It's not one where it's one or the other. You know what I mean?
Well, and but I want to also bring this to your attention because we also talk about how the 3-on-3 rules have, or like how the game has changed because teams have learned how to kind of manipulate it in a way.
Yeah.
Who's to say that these teams, if they made a rule like that and use, like you said, a missed pass, right? So it's not that difficult to make a pass look like it's missed. Like it's not hard to throw a pass and purposely miss it, right? So maybe you'll get into the fact of that these teams are learning how to purposely throw passes that whoopsie daisy, they miss, so that allows the team to go backwards and then get the puck and then come back. You know what I mean? Like, who's to say that teams are doing that? I'm not saying that the integrity of the game may be still there, but who's to say that teams won't do that? Because these teams will try anything.
And you know what? I do see your point on this. I do see your point. Take intent out of it, like puck over the glass, and that's true. So basically, if the puck goes over the red line, if the offensive team takes the puck over the red line or shoots the puck back over the red line, I think the only problem there is you have to make sure that, and this is what I'm looking at. Let's say this is the case. You have the puck at the blue line. The defender poke checks the puck, pokes it back over the line, doesn't completely go over the line, but forces you back. And that defender keeps forcing you to where you end up taking the puck over the red line. Now, do you fault the team for the puck going back over the red line for that when the defender did it? At this point, no. To me,
No.
that's so the things that I'm looking at. Oh no, do not bring back 2-line offsides. No. That will slow the game down. That will take the skill out of the game. No, I absolutely disagree with that. I think this might be before your time. The red line used to be important because you could not pass over 2 lines, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yep,
I know.
no.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know because you're only 25. I don't know how long that rule's been in. I know they took it out.
Sir, I'm a little disappointed in you. It is my
Well,
birthday, and I'm 26.
Oh, well, happy birthday. You know what? I apologize. Forgive me. You know what? There's a tradition on this show. You just open the can of worms, and you're gonna get it. Are
Uh-oh.
you ready? And a one,
Yeah, I guess so.
and a 2, and a 1, 2, 3, 4. Happy birthday to you. Woo! Happy birthday to you. Woo! Happy birthday, dear Justin Eagle Eye Scott. Woo! Happy birthday to you. Woo!
Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. Yep. 26.
Happy birthday, Justin. I apologize that I missed it. I be 100% honest. Other than posting this show, I have not been on my phone that much today at all.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, yeah, you're good. I figured.
No.
I figured.
Go ahead.
I figured you were. Honestly, I'm like, man, you know what? I'm a little disappointed. Guy didn't even wish me a happy birthday. I'm thinking, I'm like, you know what? I think he's gonna slightly mention it on the show somehow. But
and you know, when I was sending, I wasn't sure you had the link, so I was sending it to you, and I thought something popped up, but I couldn't. I was looking for you. Facebook use this is where one of the things about Facebook that I hate. They used to send you every day a reminder of whose birthday it was. And they've changed that to where you have to actually go look at it in your friends list. And I don't do that every day. And I do apologize. I do greatly apologize that you know, I missed your birthday. That I wasn't paying attention. And I'll tell you, I didn't know the exact. I knew it was in November. I didn't know the exact day. So you got to forgive me a little bit here, bud. Right?
You're good.
I won't miss it again.
You're good.
Right? I have, for me,
Yeah.
I have 3 days that I kind of consider my birthday, right? My actual birthday is December 30th.
I know. Oh damn! I was gonna say it. I knew it.
Okay.
I knew it.
So, do you know what the other 2 days are?
No. You never told me about that. I just know what your actual birthday is. So I don't know the other. I don't know about the other.
One other one. I have told you about one other one, and it's October 13th.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know why? Say again.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't remember you ever saying that. Maybe you have. Maybe you didn't. I don't know. But I don't think I remember hearing that.
We did a show and talked about it. I was at Shocky's. I was at Shocky's.
Oh, okay. Well, we've had so much substance in show, so you got to forgive me. I'm not remembering. I just remember the real one. So
okay. So what is how many out there? Lance is disagreeing with us. How many out there know why I consider October 13th one of my 3 birthdays? Yes. And forgets things. Thank you, JJ. I appreciate you, buddy. Sister JJ said guy is old and forgets things. Come on, someone knows what October 13th is. I know somebody out there knows.
As soon as you tell me, I'm sure I'm going to be like, oh yeah, you did tell me that.
Yeah.
Well, then what's the other one?
The third one I didn't tell you. The third one, as soon as I say the date, it'll like you'll immediately know what that date is. So I'll hold up on that one. Can't believe I'm waiting. Hefner says don't forgive him. Oh, you gotta love John Hefner, right? John has a new understanding of this show, a new appreciation of this show now after seeing me do a show live. So October 13th, since no one's put it out there in the group, is the Navy's birthday. Navy was 250 years old.
I do. Yeah, I
Say
do
again?
remember that because I know it. I said, yeah, I do remember that now because I didn't remember the exact day, but I do remember it now that you say it.
Right. And then the other one, it'll make sense as soon as I say the date, is November 11th.
I must be missing something here.
What's November 11th?
Man, I'm drawing a blank here. I mean, you got to forgive me. Yes. You got to cut me some slack though. I did just turn 26. I'm getting old,
Okay.
so.
ouch. when I'm getting ready to turn 57. Okay. November 11th is Veterans Day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Why am I not remembering that? Oh my God. I why did that just go right over my head? I don't know why that went over my head.
Yeah.
Why?
So those are kind of like the 3 days that I November 11th is Marine Hungover Day.
Man, I cannot believe I forgot. How?
So we're gonna. I want to keep the show on the Sundays between an hour and a half. Does that sound like a good time frame for you?
Yeah, that sounds okay to me.
Right. Make sure that we're both integrating and working together on this. So let's talk about the week that's coming up. The week ahead for the St. Louis Blues. They have 3 games. They are all home games. On November 11th, Veterans Day, and you know, I said I'm going to do at least one show a week. You can absolutely be certain I'm doing that show Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
We are doing that show Tuesday. That is Veterans Day. The Warriors usually have something going on with that. The Warriors just had the Warrior Classic or some type of one of the Warrior things down in Florida and did really well. I don't think they won at them. They did really well. I feel like this is a depressing HOA meeting. Oh, well, Ryan, tough. So November 11th, they take on the Calgary Flames, as was said earlier, the battle for 31st place. On Friday the 14th, at home, they will take on the Philadelphia Flyers. And then the very next night, at the same time, 7 o'clock Central, they will take on the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm not sure where Philly is in the standings. I'd have to pull it up real quick where the Flyers actually are in the standings because I don't know off the top of my head. I haven't really looked at the standings lately. They are 8-5-2, so 600 team sitting in the first wild card spot. Calgary is behind us. They only have 10 points. They are, I think they're last.
Yeah, they're last in the whole West. I think they're last in the whole league.
Yeah. So we are 31st with 13 points and a 406 points percentage. Calgary is 32nd with a 313 points percentage. So this would not change where we are or where they are in the standings, but could change where we are in the standings. We could jump up to 29th, I think, if we beat the game. Right now, Calgary's really looking at trading Kadri.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, Calgary is exactly where I thought that they would be last year because last year what did I say about last year? How I felt about it? Like I love Johnny Gaudreau, but I know it felt a little bit more for the Columbus Blue Jackets. But I felt like those two teams really like came together and kind of played for Johnny last year, I think that they were going to regress a little bit.
Yeah, you were right. That has happened. The thing with Kadri, look, the guy's a great hockey player. He is, but I hate to say he's a horrible person, but he
douche
doesn't have
nozzle?
the greatest personal qualities, right? Especially on the ice. Say again.
Yeah, he's a douche nozzle. Is what you mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to say it in a nice way, but
That's okay, guy. I'll be the word garbage, okay, for this show, and you can be the PG guy, okay?
yeah,
Yeah, douche. Okay, douche. Hey, put it this way: douche nozzle is pretty tame for what I could call him. Let's just say that.
right.
Kadri is not
he's
the
with
best person,
Marcus.
like you said.
Yeah. Actually, I don't put Marcus on there. I put Tom. Who's the guy from? The guy from Minnesota. Hartman.
Yeah, Hartman.
Yeah, I put him with Hartman and Wilson. I don't think Marchand is such or Marchand. Okay, wait a minute.
Marchand.
So he's saying Marchand. Wrong March. Okay, Marchand, Wilson, and Hartman. Yeah, I would put him with that.
Marchand is Marchand is one of those guys that he's a pest. I think he's kind of corralled over the couple of years now that he's kind of matured and everything like that.
Yeah.
But he still has his antics. But Marchand's a great player. I would be fine if the Blues went out and got him. Kadri, I don't know, man. I just don't think I would want Kadri. I really don't.
I don't. I would not want Kadri, Wilson, or Hartman on my team.
No, Marchand. I would take Marchand. I really would because he's a pest.
I can relate Marchand to one person from the 90s, 80s, and 90s. Not a hockey player, but Marchand is this is very relatable to who this player is. Right?
Yeah.
Because this was a guy that you hated if he wasn't on your team, but when he came to your team, you absolutely freaking loved him. And I saw it in person when I was stationed in that area when this person came to this city's team. Prior to him coming to this team, this city bagged on him so much. As soon as he got there, the newspaper started printing things about him, good things about him every day. And if I say what they printed, you will know who this player is. Well, I'll say it. Does anybody, I want to put this out there. Does anybody know? Oh, damn it. I knew somebody would get it right away. Dennis Rodman. Right?
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman, the Chicago Tribune would post like what color hair he wore each day because he changed his hairstyle hair color every game. So they like how many times he wore this color, how many times he wore that color, and all the antics he pulled. It was all the greatest thing. But when he was on Detroit, oh my God, did that city hate him? They hated him so bad. As soon as he came to Chicago, it flipped.
Yeah.
Marchand is that guy to me.
Yeah. I just Marchand is he's a great player, and I just feel like that would be a guy that would be so hard to pass on. Like if he was like, oh, I want to go to St. Louis, like I would be like, yeah, man, come on over. Like I feel like despite his dirtiness in some situations, I find it hard to just say I wouldn't want a Marchand on my team. Like as for like Ryan Hartman, screw that guy. I think Ryan Hartman is. He's a Blues killer, but I think that guy is the epitome of a scumbag, and I think he's the epitome of a mediocre hockey player at best.
Yeah, right. Wilson to me is in the same boat. He's probably a little bit better than Hartman. Kadri has skill.
Oh yeah,
Kadri has skill. I'm not going to deny that. Kadri has skill. And that's the thing that makes, like with Marchand, the thing that makes Marchand his antics so bad is he doesn't need them. He has all the skill in the world. He doesn't need them.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
yeah, he's good enough to get it done on the score sheet rather than being antics. But he's both, and I think that's why a lot of people don't like him.
Yeah. But where Kadri, I think, is below Marchand, Kadri may need them. I could be wrong. That could be a poor view, or could be construed into something else. But with Kadri, I still look at what happened in St. Louis, and I got to be honest, we handled that situation so bad it wasn't even funny, right? St. Louis fans handled that situation horribly. We turned Kadri into a martyr instead of doing the right. Like when the hand pass happened, we listened to we let it go. We let it go. We should have let what happened. The series of events with Kadri, as bad as they were, we should have gotten better. Oh, there's a question, and I forgot all about. We didn't talk about this. We have one more topic to talk about before we end the show, and I'm glad Erickson's bringing it up. Do you think Skinner will help us on D? This will be his first ever NHL game at 24 years old. So the St. Louis Blues today sent Logan Mailloux down to the minors. The comments on him were that he needs to reset, that he needs to get his head right, that he's clutching the stick too hard, and that they brought up Hunter Skinner.
Mm-hmm.
Malo. I'm sorry, man. I say it the best I can.
Mayu.
I say it the best I can.
This was a good move for the Blues. I mean, I'm surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I'm surprised that it's coming as late as it is. I actually would have sent him down a little earlier. I get what they were doing. They're wanting to get him in the NHL, get him in some games, see how the Blues system works, and then send him down to get some seasonings, some development, and then have him come up, maybe later on into the season, maybe when he hones his abilities a little bit more, and maybe he's a little bit more comfortable, and he already knows the Blues system from playing with him for a few games.
Right. Well, here's my thing with first of all, Springfield is having a worse season than the Blues are. Right?
Oh yeah, they're rough. They're rough.
They're having a rough season. Now, I look at who's on defense for them, and I wonder if there isn't somebody else that we could have brought up. Now, when I say this, there's only our Springfield defense. There's only one guy besides Hunter that's over 25, right? And in fact, there's only one guy that's over 25. Yeah, everyone else is 24 or younger. And I'm going to go through it. You have Jarek. I think I'm saying that right. Adam Jarek.
Adam Yurchek. Yeah.
Yurchek. Okay.
Yurchek.
He's 19. Lucas Fisher, 19. Theo Lindstein, 20. Samuel Johansson, 24. I think Johansson's the one we just traded for, though I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
I think so.
Johansson
didn't sound very familiar.
The minor league deal they did, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have Leo Loof, who has been up, right? Mm-hmm. He's 23. Bushinger is 21. I think he's had an NHL game. Quentin Burns is 20. Has. Marc-Andre Gaudet is 22. And then you have Callie Rosen. Actually, Rosen's the player we just traded for. Callie Rosen.
Yeah, Rosen.
Right? Rosen is the guy that Rosen's not an NHL player. So bringing up Skinner at 25 might be the best. I understand bringing Skinner up instead of one of the other younger guys, because if you bring up a younger guy, you're putting him in the same position that you put Mailloux in. And while bringing up Skinner kind of does that, he's also a little older. Yeah. He's a little older. So that I think I'm okay with that. The only thing there that would kind of sort of concern me comes with Lindstein. Right? Yeah.
Well, and the thing is the way I look at it is I look at some of those guys. Theo Lindstein, he wasn't going to get the call up. I knew that. I think he's going to need some more seasoning down there. He's still got a couple years. Adam Yurchek, I think Adam Yurchek's going to be a great defenseman for the Blues eventually when he is eventually called upon. But obviously he's a couple years away. He's still very, very young. One of the youngest guys on that team. Honestly, the four I think it was that you could have called up would have been the Skinner. You could have called up Callie Rosen, but I mean you've already seen that. I don't think you really need that. Leo Loof, and Gaudette. I would say Gaudette, and God, there was another one I think that I'm missing.
Johansson at 24.
No, Bushinger. Bushinger, because he has played, and all those guys have played some games for the Blues, and they didn't stick out like a sore thumb. Like, it's not like they were playing bad hockey. And I think that for most of those guys that are in Springfield that are having a rough year this year, I do think it has to do with a young defensive core there. But I think it's also nice that you're seeing a guy like Skinner get a chance, because I think Skinner, Leo Loof, Businger, I think all those guys had pretty decent camps. Yeah. Especially Leo Loof. I thought Leo Loof was pretty good in his stint. He was one of the last young guys to be on the roster before they put him down. Yeah. So Leo Loof was good. I think that any one of those guys could have really made an impact, and I think would have been an okay choice. I mean, the Blues are not really in a great spot right now, so giving a chance to one of these guys isn't really the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Here's my thing: Lindstein and Steinberg.
Yeah, Stenberg. Yeah,
Steinberg, right?
Yeah,
we're both first round draft picks. Same year as Devo. And we're in year number 3 since they've been drafted. Right? Mm-hmm. So to me, we're at that point where maybe because they were drafted later, they were in the 20s. You give them one more year. But at the same time, you go and you look at God, why am I blanking out? Snuggerud. Yeah. Right? Snuggerud, who's in that same 3-year mark, you know? Mm-hmm. He's actually, I think he's in 4-year. He was the year before those guys. So those guys really need, like, it's time for them to put up or shut up, in my eyes. Like, maybe they get this year, but by next year they need to be on the roster.
Stenberg, Stenberg, I can see that case. As for Leo Lindstein, he is still 20. I could still see him. I don't think out of all the guys actually who had a camp, I thought Leo Lindstein actually didn't perform all that well. If I'm to be quite honest with you, in the camp and in preseason, I just wasn't impressed with his game. But I think that he can be a great defenseman. As for Otto Stenberg looked good. Otto Stenberg looked good in the preseason games. I just think it was a thing of, oh, well, this guy's still young. And the way I think about it is you have Dvorsky. So if you put Otto Stenberg on this team, obviously it's going to push out some guys. So the question is who you're pushing out. Obviously, I don't think.
No, go ahead.
Well, you have okay. So your center depth, Otto Stenberg is a center. So your center depth would then be Thomas, Dvorsky, Shin. Shin can play the wing, obviously. But as for position's sake, Thomas, Dvorsky, Shin, Sundqvist, and Otto Stenberg. That's your center depth.
Stenberg can also play left wing. He can also play left wing. So.
Okay, well, yeah. So you have options. So you could work him in there, and I don't mind it because you did lose Bolduc, so it does kind of open up things. But then you got to take, you're still going to be pushing out guys. The Blues have depth right now. Yeah. Obviously, the guy who's going to be looking on the outside is Alexander Texier. I have no doubt in my mind that he is gone eventually. When that is, I don't know.
Who?
Alexander Texier.
Oh, okay.
Texier will be gone. I don't particularly think that Oscar Sundqvist is a guy that is like of himself, like the 2019 version. I don't think he will ever get back to that. So you can look to, get him out of here. I don't know how many years he has left I think he was only signed for like 2 years, right, or something like
Yeah,
that.
he just signed it. No, this is the last for him. It's the last year of a 2-year contract.
Okay, so me personally, I think that's a guy that you might see walk. And I don't particularly think that that's a bad thing. I like Sundqvist. I think he's a great locker room guy, but he's just not what he was.
Right. So you
have guys that you can move out of the lineup, for those guys. But
you have some luck here, right? And you have some things to look at. Joseph is a UFA. Joseph's on a 1-year deal. Holloway's on a 1-year deal. Texier's on a 1-year deal. They are both RFAs. That is something important. Torpachenko's on a 1-year deal. He's a UFA. Sundqvist's on the last year of a 2-year deal. He's a UFA. Of those 4 players, obviously Holloway you want to keep, right? No ands, ifs, or buts. So you have Joseph. Because Holloway you keep. You have Joseph, Texier, Torpachenko, and Sundqvist. There is only one reason I don't trade Texier. Only one.
yeah, what was that?
Because there's a chance he gets offer sheeted.
Texier?
Yep. He's an RFA. You kind of put out there that you would allow him to you let the other GMs know that they would offer sheet him, that you'd let him go. I mean, you're going to get. He's making $2 million. He's making 2.1 now. I would say at 27, maybe he makes close to that, and that should be like a 3rd round pick, right? I think that's what Holloway got is making 2.2. So 3rd round, maybe it moves into a 2nd round pick. So that's the only reason I wouldn't trade Texier.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that, but honestly, I'm not 100% convinced that any team would really offer sheet Texier. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't see how anyone could be appealed by the play that he brings, if I'm completely honest. He has his moments, but I just don't know if he's offer sheet worthy, if I'm honest.
There's of those 4 players, there's only one I keep. Right?
Yeah, I could see them. I could see them making a case to keep a guy like Torpachenko.
And that's
Torpachenko. So I mean, obviously Holloway. Obviously, you want to keep him. You want to keep Torpachenko. As for Sundqvist, I'd say you let him walk. As for Joseph has impressed me this year. He's actually busted his ass this year, but I just don't. I don't know how he fits into this lineup, especially if these younger guys start to get going, like an Otto Stenberg, like a Dvorsky. He makes a mainstay, because we're all forgetting that Jake Neighbors is not in this lineup. So once Jake Neighbors comes back, they're going to have some hard decisions, because Jake Neighbors is going to be in this lineup.
Right.
Jake Neighbors is not going to be sitting. So
somebody's getting wet.
Joseph. Yeah. So I mean, and that's why I think that Texier is possibly going to be that guy who finds himself on the outside looking in.
Texier, I think, is the guy that they could probably waive, and he clears waivers.
Claimed. Yeah.
Right? He would clear waivers. I would think he would clear waivers. Right?
Yeah.
I think the Blues knew. I mean, they were surprised that Ellis got picked up, but I don't think they were that surprised. Ellis had a pretty decent preseason, and he had a really good season down in Springfield last year. The thing that they looked at is that most of the teams at that point had 2 goalies, and very, very rare does a team keep 3. And if you would have picked him up, you couldn't send him down. You had to put him right back on waivers. You're not allowed to do that, right?
Well, that it's kind of a good point. But then you have a stupid, and I mean this, not trying to be negative or anything like that, but then you have a dumb GM in Kevin Adams who signs Alex Georgiev to a contract and then waives him because he picks up Ellis. So like this guy picks up like 4 goalies. He has 4 goalies in his pipeline that could all play for his team. And then he signs Georgiev, and then he picks up Ellis, and then he has to play him, like you said, because he picked him up on waivers. So he has to play, which kind of worked out because what's his name? Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen was hurt. So it worked out, but still you had a guy that you brought in that you wanted on your roster, and then just dished him away for nothing. I mean, I don't think Georgiev's a great goalie, but why would you sign him if you knew that you were just looking at other options? We're
right at that 130 mark. Wow, we hit that pretty quick. I didn't think we would. We're at 125, so I think it's now time. Do you have any last minute topic you want to talk about before we close up the show? I'll let you open up.
Well, I know our next game is against the Calgary Flames, right? Yes. So the Calgary Flames, so the battle of the 2 worst teams in the league, statistically. So I guess I don't know if we'll get our predictions out on our TikTok, but I mean, if we want, we could do kind of our predictions here. If you want, it's up to you. What we're feeling about tomorrow, or feeling about Tuesday. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, for me, I don't want to put out a score prediction yet, because I mean, you still got 2 more practices, and they did a bag skate. Marianne should be happy they did a bag skate. Oh, Mama. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Saying happy birthday to you. We're saying hi to Mom. You may have missed it, but we sang to him. So want to let you know we did sing to him. Right? This is a Bennington game. I see this. Bennington, Kadri and Bennington, I don't think that there's going to be anything that plays into that. But I do think that this is a game. So I remember a couple of years ago when the Blues were really struggling, and they played. In fact, now let me go. And I know you hate saying 19, but if you go back to 18-19, the reason that Mike Yeo got fired was consecutive losses to last place teams.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The Ducks, and it might have been the Ducks twice, but it was the Ducks and somebody else. So, at this point, it is time for the Dennis Green quote. We were who we thought they were. Well, you know what? It's time for the Blues to be who we think they are, in my eyes. It's time for them to really stop whatever the locker room, whatever the issue is, to figure it out. You got 2 more days. You have Monday, or you have today, Monday and Tuesday. So 1 more practice, and then morning skate. Ducks and Kings. Yeah. I wasn't sure if it was both of them or what, but it was somewhere along those lines.
And it's not like it. No, and don't get me wrong. I don't say I hate 2019 and I don't want to go back to it. I love 2019. It's great. It's one of the greatest times of my life. We got to see the Blues win, and I get that. I was just making a point of when we were talking about the goal interference and the situation that happened between the hand pass and then the situation right now.
I didn't mean to mischaracterize that. I apologize.
I think I'm not going to get into it because we can kind of tackle it a little bit after maybe at our next show, maybe, because we're kind of running out of time here. But I will say, I wish I would have brought this up in the show. Man, dude, they got to figure out something with Pavel Buchnevich, man. I am severely unimpressed with his play, and he was even awful last night. It's so hard for me to say that because I love the guy. I think the guy is I think he's funny. I think he has a great character, but man, oh man, has he just been awful, awful.
And you know what? That is something we will get into Tuesday in the pregame. How's that sound?
Yeah, we can definitely tackle that in the pregame because I don't know. Like you said, I kind of agree with you. I don't know if a scratch would work for Pavel Buchnevich. I think he's just a guy that knows that he needs to play better. Here's my thought. The Blues are kind of juggling lines. Do you think that we should start seeing a Pavel Buchnevich drop down to a 3rd or a 4th line and not get as many minutes, until he starts proving that he can be there,
I think maybe putting him on a line with either Devo or Torpachinko may help him.
It may. I feel like the Blues are kind of shuffling around different line combinations. Like Dylan Holloway was on the fourth line. Who's to say that we don't see Pavel Buchnevich on the fourth line? I mean, maybe instead of scratching him, you put him on a lower line where he doesn't get as much minutes, and maybe that motivates him to get going a little bit. Who knows?
Maybe I brought this up with Ashley and a couple of shows ago when she was on here with us. When was Pavel Buchnevich the best?
I would say, his first season. I would say, you mean like character-wise, or you mean like year-wise?
On the ice, when he was the best.
In what particular season, what particular time?
What for me? It's when what I call the Spetsna line, the Special Forces line of Buchnevich, Tereshchenko, and Barbashev. When those three were together, for those 3 or 4 games that they were together, oh my God, did they click. And I think that they clicked because of the language. I think the language really helped them. And you could actually hear, I remember during the game, hearing them speaking Russian to each other. Right? Mm-hmm. You could hear him on the ice speaking Russian with each other. And I know that his English has gotten better, but I do think that he's still uncomfortable with it. And I still think that...
Yeah, it's definitely broken. For sure.
Yeah. And I do think that maybe putting him with Torpachinko, who is a Russian, and Dvorsky, while he is Slovaki, I think that they may speak somewhat of a similar language. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't know that for a fact. I could be wrong, but I think that they do maybe think they speak somewhat of a similar, or at least there's some cultural exchange there that could work.
Yeah, right? Well, and I do agree with you in a sense that could help him. My only issue is I just feel like this goes past that language barrier. Like we've seen him play really well with Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou, like when they're on the same line. We've seen them play well together. My thing is just there's just so many mistakes. Like not being able to clear the puck. And that goes back to Game 7. When he doesn't skate that puck out, like the decision making has just been abysmal. There was a couple times actually when the open net, when you were saying that the Blues could have put away the game, which is why I see your viewpoint, where Pavel Buchnevich is on the wall, and instead of like getting that puck out, he throws a little pizza biscuit,
and
right?
It doesn't even come out of the zone. It doesn't even come out of the zone, and that's what ends up creating the icing at 11 seconds that leads to that. Right?
Yeah.
That was my whole point with it. I understand how bad the call was. Mm-hmm. My point was, why did we even get to that point? That was the point I was trying to make. Right?
Well, and I like I said, I definitely get that. I just the decision making for Pavel has just been so bad. And I'm just talking like really bad. He's not even making like simple passes. He's trying to force passes. He can't get the puck out of the zone anytime he tries. It's a weak wrister that doesn't get out of the zone, and it happens. It happens like 4 times a game. It's just something that can't happen.
Right. I agree with you. Unfortunately,
just a little prelude for you guys for the post game. Or for the pregame for the Calgary game. So let's get going.
So let's hear from Miss Layla.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
And Justin, it's up to you. What do you got to do?
Where's the boys?
The boys.
Hawaii Blues fan, we're bleeding blue with you. Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues.
This is Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, and
Justin Eagle Eye Scott.
We are the BlueNote Fan Report, and we are thanking you for joining us tonight for our weekly show. We will see you on Tuesday and then on next Sunday at 7 o'clock. Sunday. We are Bleeding Blue with you. And we everybody. We'll see you next time on the Blue Note Fan Report.